So many people have questions about Israel, the Israelites. Who were the true Israelites? Where did the tribes of Israel go? Where did they perish off to? All these things exist, but not how people expect them to. They are just representations of how we function as spiritual beings, living in a human or experiencing this human body. Now, the lost tribes of Israel begins with Isaac. Why? Because Isaac is the beginning of God's promise that was made to Abraham. Abraham is the father of Isaac. Abraham was 100 years old. His wife is 90. And so because they're up in age, God promised that he would give Abraham a son, him and his wife, as well as making sure that all of his descendants after him would flourish, would be abundant and prosperous and have many blessings and protection and given land. Now, Isaac, the etymology of Isaac, and this is very important to remember. Isaac means one who rejoices or one who laughs. Like we've established, he's the first son of Abraham and Sarah. Now, the root of Abraham means father of many, or I will create, and he has many different meanings. Now, we look at Abram, it means father of nations, high father. Father is exalted. AB equals father. Ram equals Aries or head. Ham equals servant or majesty. When you talk about Heavenly Father, people ask, well, why is it, why isn't it Heavenly Mother? Well, it doesn't have anything to do physically. People look at things from a physical point of view, physical evidence, proof. It's all symbolism. The mother is the one who plans the foundation, and the father establishes, acts on the foundation. I just wanted to point that out. But anyway, let's keep on going. Abraham is 100 years old, like we've established. Now, this is significant because 1 represents unity of all creation, whole, oneness of the universe. Uni means one, universe. So, it represents the all. When you're meditating, you have the crown chakra, your heavenly mind, your higher mind, connecting with source, the divine intelligence. This is Abraham. Sarah is the master, the chief, noble woman. He's 90. And ask yourself this question. Why would Abraham be 100 and Sarah would be 90? They're both up in age, but that's not the point I'm trying to figure out. What's really eye-opening is the fact that he's 101. She's 99. 1 through 9. Now, many people may say, oh, well, there's no higher number between 1 and 9. Somewhat correct. Another number would be infinity. It's not a number, but we can get into numerology another time. That's not the point of this video, right? Sarah is 90. 9 represents spiritual enlightenment, higher consciousness, completion, selflessness, and compassion. They're both so Kundalini. You have Shakti at the bottom, the sleeping serpent. When we are in meditation, when we're in a deep meditation, we experience a Kundalini awakening. Shakti is at the bottom. Shiva, her counterpart, is at the top. So as she begins to awaken, she starts moving and going up the spine to meet her husband up there. Abraham is Shiva. Shakti would be Sarah. Consciousness. This different levels of consciousness. That's all it is. Now, in Genesis 18:14, I want you to turn to your Bible. If you have a Bible, or if you have a Bible app, any type of Bible will do. Turn the page or the verse, Genesis 18:14. God asked Abraham, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" Why would God, if people think God is separate from Abraham, ask Abraham, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" God is Lord. God is Abraham. Now, let's look at Sarah. You'll see that Sarah denies laughing. Why is laughing important? Because the hypothalamus contributes to the loud, uncontrollable laughter that's produced. The hypothalamus is a gland in our brain. Lord means one possessing authority, power, or control. Also means oneness of thought and purpose in the individual, as well as the one presence and one power. Abraham is talking to himself. That's why Sarah is laughing. Sarah is on the right brain hemisphere. Sarah is on the right brain, and Abraham is on the left. The left is masculine, the right is feminine. The one presence and the one power. Abraham is Lord and God. That's why Sarah is laughing, because it's a joke. The cerebral cortex is the outermost layer. Let's look at the cerebral cortex. It is the outermost layer of the brain made of tightly packed neurons, known as the brain's gray matter. It involves thinking and learning, language, emotion, senses, personality, and movement. Now, like I said, the two brain hemispheres of the cerebral cortex are connected by corpus callosum, which is a large structure of white matter and nerve pathways. Now, the left brain has cells that covers the entire surface of the forebrain, and it analyzes the words and structures of the joke, or a joke. And the joke is Abraham is Lord. The brain's large frontal lobe is involved in social emotional responses. Now look at the right brain. The right brain carries out the intellectual analysis required to get the joke. Sarah is the right brain. She understands the joke. She understands why Abraham said that is anything too hard for the Lord. Because she's like, dude, you literally are the Lord. Like, you're talking to yourself. Now, the right brain is feminine and the left brain is masculine. The Father, the Heavenly Father, Mother, the Great Mother, is on the right. So let's dive a little deeper into Isaac, shall we? Okay. So Isaac is the beginning. He's the chosen heir through whom God's promise would be fulfilled, right? Because after Isaac comes Jacob. So Isaac is the father of twins, Jacob and Esau. Jacob is the younger and Esau is the older. Now, this is basically established throughout the entire Bible. The first is last, and the last shall be first. But Jacob, and this was in God's plan too, because Jacob took his older brother Esau's birthright from him. He tricked him into giving his birthright up to Jacob. So like we said, Isaac is the father of twins, Jacob and Esau. Let me put this down. Like we said, Isaac has twins with his wife, Rebecca. Isaac means one who rejoices, one who laughs. Rebecca means to bind or tie. Two twins, right? Twins, two nations, two people. Jacob, I'm gonna make sure y'all can see this. And Esau. Let me just write it. Younger, older. Jacob, this is also important to know. Jacob means be behind, be behind or to follow. You're going to understand why his name means that as well. Esau means make, doer, worker, or sometimes he's called the uncalled man of the world. He's called the uncalled man of the world because, oh, I forgot. Because his brother Jacob took his blessing that his father Isaac left for him. So he was to be blessed from his father to be blessed and to be abundant. But Jacob took that from him. He took that. And not only that, but Jacob also took his birthright. Two twins. So yeah, Jacob is the beginning of a prophecy that foreshadows the destiny of two nations. Prophecy comes from the head, or aka the mind. The pineal gland, the third eye. Pineal I'm gonna write it over here. Pineal comes from the Latin word pinea, which means pine cone. Right? Pineal, which is talked about or mentioned in the Bible. Peniel person means the face of God. Make sure to remember that. That's also important. Now, the nation, two nations. Two nations are the two brothers. Jacob represents the spirit. Esau, man of the world, is the physical. You understand when I talk about something else and why Jacob is representing the spirit. He's a representation of the spirit. Two nations. Nation, I'm gonna write it in a different. I like the many different colors. That's why I'm like, what do I want to write it in? But anyway, nation. What does that mean? Nation is a territory. You understand why I'm doing the things that I'm doing right now. A territory where its people are led by the same government. Are we talking about physically? No, we're talking about God. We're talking about that energy, the higher consciousness. Not talking about a physical. We're not talking about a physical representation. We're talking about heart's consciousness, nation. The etymology of nation. Where's the top? This word, nati, means God's gift. God's gift. Natan means he gave. Who is he? He gave. God. He gave. Nation. Talking about the nation within yourself. You are the power. You are the generator, operator, and the destroyer. Nation. Two nations. You have two brain hemispheres. Two nations, two people. You have God, the devil, good, evil, hero, villain. All of these are just metaphors. This is in Genesis 25:23. It states, one people should be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. This means Jacob, the spirit of man, rules or leads the physical world. Esau, Jacob shall rule the world of the physical. Jacob is the spirit. Jacob is the spirit representation. Esau is the representation of the physical, the uncalled man of the world, the physical reality, the physical existence of man. Then we have, Genesis 27. Jacob, like I said, Jacob tricks his father into giving him material gains, spiritual authority, and the continuation of God's promise with Abraham, which was intended for Esau. But God knew this was going to happen. So because Jacob is the younger, God let this happen. So this wasn't really in a coinky dink, like they say. So you have two people, two nations, spirit, and then you have the man of the world, the physical reality. Jacob gets away from Esau's wrath because Esau finds out that Jacob took his birthright without his knowing, without his knowledge. And because Esau got upset, Jacob flew. Jacob flew, not flew. Jacob went away. He ran away. So Jacob gets away from Esau's wrath and takes a journey to his uncle Laban. Laban means white or innocent. So Jacob flees from Esau's wrath. Jacob goes Uncle Laban. Laban means white or innocence. Laban means white or innocence. When you think about innocence, often when people think about white or innocent, people think about God. People think about purity, purification, all things godly. Now, in Genesis 28:12 to 15, turn to Genesis 28:12 to 15. God comes to Jacob in a dream or vision. He's reaffirming the promise that he made with Abraham. He says, I am the Lord, God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac, the land on which you lie. I will give to you and your descendants. So Jacob has this dream of God being standing on the top of a ladder and watching angels descending and ascending. And he's fleeing away from Esau, trying to get to God, trying to get to his God, trying to get to his higher consciousness. All this stuff that's going on in Genesis represents the beginning. Genesis represents the beginning, to be born, birth, renewal, rebirth, all things new, all things prosperous, new beginnings, new growth. So all these things that's happening, and the lost tribes come from Genesis, the book of Genesis. New beginnings, growth, expansion, all things blessing, all blessings, prosperity, and all these good things. Genius means brain. So you have Genesis and then you have brain. Got enough blue. You have Genesis, which represents to be born, or means be born, birth, birth of two nations, birth of a nation. Genius comes from it comes from the brain. Also, in Latin, attendant, it means attendant spirit, present from one's birth, innate ability, or inclination. So genius in Latin means attendant spirit. attendant spirit present from one's birth. So Genesis, all these things, Jacob, Esau, 12 tribes, Isaac, uh, Jacob's wives, all this stuff begins in Genesis. It's very important. And all these things, Isaac, after Isaac dies, his son, Jacob, flourishes. Every time every time a father dies, he's dying for his son to then prosper. See how this works? Isaac dies, not literally, but metaphorically. Isaac dies. No, Abraham dies. His son does what he needs to do. He fulfills his blessing by creating Jacob. Twins. Not just Jacob, but twins, two nations. Isaac then dies. And when all these things are occurring, this is the cycle of life also. Because when the fathers are giving the blessings to their sons, they are up in age or about to die, dying off. In order for new life to begin, one must die. And that's also present when it comes to, that's also very symbolic, because when it comes to people and their families, every time a person in the family dies, another person is born. Now we got Genesis and all that other stuff. I'm doing it this way. I'm getting to the 12 tribes, but I feel like this is very important to know. So after we're going off Genesis, then you have Jacob wrestling with a mysterious creature. So Jacob wrestles with a mysterious creature. Let me see. We got the nations. Got all this stuff out the way. Don't leave. Jacob begins to wrestle with a mysterious creature. Who is this creature? What is this? What is this person? Jacob wrestles with mysterious creature. Who is this mysterious creature? God. It's God. So Jacob, like I said, Jacob wrestles with a mysterious creature. We now know it's God. So he's begging God to give him a blessing. Then he demonstrates that he is willing to let God win, be present in his life. And God renames him as Israel. This is how he becomes Israel. Jacob becomes Israel. He surrenders to his higher self. He says, okay, I'm going to stop fighting the will of God. I'm going to stop fighting my higher self, my higher God, my higher presence. Because in order to be abundant, in order to be prosperous, we must follow the will of God. Now, people say, oh, You have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. No, everybody's will of God is different. That's why it's very important to have faith in your own being, and to not follow other people's path. Because what's meant for other people is not meant for you. Jacob becomes Israel after he surrenders to God. Jacob is the spirit. So you have man, then you have, let me write it down. You have the physical man, right? That's the lower. You have three worlds. Lower, lower, three worlds, three planes of existence. You have man, then you have spirit, then you have God. Spirit is in the middle. That's why when he was fighting or wrestling with the mysterious being, he was battling between his lower and his higher. Spirit is in the middle. God is higher. Heavenly Father, mine. So after Jacob wrestles with the mysterious creature, who we now know is God, his God, he surrenders, and then he becomes Israel. Spirit. Jacob is the spirit, and his brother is the lower. He's the uncalled man of the world. Who rules the world? People say the devil. Take it, take it how you want. Jacob is the spirit, the middle. So he's wrestling between the malevolent and the benevolent, devil and the God, the lower mind and the higher mind. Lower power, higher power. Higher power is God. God is the all high and mighty. So like we stated before, we got two twins, two nations, two different people. Jacob is the younger. Jacob stripped Esau of his birthright, tricked his father into giving him the blessings that he was to give Esau, as well as being abundant and prosperous and becoming Israel. So we've established all that. We've established that Jacob wrestles with a mysterious creature. The mysterious creature is God, his higher mind. He's battling between his ego and his higher consciousness, which is enlightenment. Okay, then he surrenders to God and let himself follow the will of God, having faith in God. This is where this faith comes in. And then becomes Israel. He becomes one with the all. He becomes one with everything. I didn't realize my mic had died. This is why I got all this stuff down. Didn't hear me at first. But he becomes one with the unity consciousness source, the divine. Isis, Israel is Isis, an Egyptian goddess of fertility, magic, wisdom, and associated with the moon. Ra is the sun god, the Egyptian sun god, which represents authority, power, taking action. El is the son or child of God. All these things, when you balance the masculine, feminine, and the sun, you get God. God is the all. Okay? So you have Isis, Ra, El. Israel. And I had people do this experiment where you intone the three words. The three words are Israel, God, and I am that I am. And let me know in the comment section down below if you haven't done it already. Feel free to do it. It's like a little experiment. You can just sit or stand as long as you are relaxed. And intone these words. Israel. Let me know in the comment section down below Where do you feel these words vibrate? When you vibrate these words, where do you feel the energy flowing from the most? So yeah, we got all this stuff established. Israel represents the God within himself, the all. And then after Jacob flees to his uncle Laban, Laban means white or innocent. He marries Laban's daughters, Leah and Rachel. So after we've established he wrestled and stuff, let's take a look at his not daughters. Let's take a look at his relationships with his wives. You're going to understand why this is important when it comes to the tribes of Israel. Okay. Laban or Lebanon. I think about Lebanon. Lebanon is a place. Have Laban. And any sane person would be like, why would Jacob marry his cousins? This is why you shouldn't take this stuff as it meant literally. It's not literal. He has two daughters. Okay. Two beautiful daughters named Rachel and Leah. Now this is where we getting more towards the tribes of Israel in a minute. We got Leah and Rachel. Rachel, Rach, this part means rough, tough. So rough, tough. The dark mother was stiff. And Leah means soft, delicate. Soft, delicate. Relief. So let's break this down a little further. Lee means the, and ah equals relief. Relief or delight. So you have two parts of, what is it called? So you have the brain, you have the outer layer of the brain. The outer layer of the brain. You have the outer layer of the brain, which is rough. This is rough, okay? This is the outer layer of the brain. What is it called? Dura mater. Mater, however you want to pronounce it. Called dura mater. It's the rough, stiff, tough part of the brain. It's the outer layer. Then you have Pia. Oh shoot. you have pia mater. Pia mater is the soft, delicate surface of the brain. So it is the innermost layer. So pia mater is on the right. This is the right brain. Think of it like that. That's the easiest way for me to remember. Pia mater and dura mater. Dark, light. Delicate, soft, relief, delight, tough, rough, like a stick in the mud, stiff. Okay. Where's the So these are Laban's daughters. Pia mater is the innermost layer of the meninges, made of delicate connective tissue and many blood vessels, held tightly to the brain and spinal cord, following all of their convolutions, difficulties. And it helps contain cerebral spinal fluid, which is a clear, colorless fluid that surrounds and protects the brain and spinal cord, nourishing them and removing waste, which is the soft mother. The soft mother nurtures her children, coddles them, making sure that they're all right. So Zilpah, then we have two maid servants that Jacob is also connected to and makes them the mother of his other children. Two maid servants. Pia mater, Leah's maid servant, is Zilpah. Rachel's is Bilhah. Or Bilhah. Okay. Why is this significant? It's because Zilpah is the inner layer to Pia, so it's called Pia Intima. It's the inner layer of the Pia mater and the deepest layer of the meninges. So there's three membranes. You have the dura mater, the arachnoid, which is in the middle. It's like a web. So it's in between and it connects these two. So it's three membranes: dura mater, arachnoid, and pia mater. Pia mater is Leah. Rachel is the dura mater. She's a tough, stiff, rough mother. Dark. Leah is the lighter, soft, delicate. You get relief, you get delight from her. You get joy, peace, all that. And yeah. So Zilpah is the inner layer of the pia mater. Rachel, the rough, is the tough outer layer of the tissue that covers and protects the brain and spinal cord and is closest to the skull. Rachel is one of the three layers that forms the meninges, the thick, tough, and elastic layer. Bilhah, Rachel's maid servant, is the outer layer. She's called epipial. She's the epipial layer, which contains collagen fibers and are protein bundles that provide structure, strength, and elasticity to the body's tissues and connects to the arachnoid matter. So arachnoid, like I said, arachnoid matter is the middle layer, which is a thin web-like structure and is filled with cerebral spinal fluid that cushions the central nervous system of the brain. Dura mater is Rachel, the tough, stiff, dark mother who protects the outer layer of the brain, which is more connected towards the skull. Rachel is the innermost layer. Leah is the innermost layer, which is Pia matter on the right. This is the left. This is right. Soft, delicate, more into the deeper layer of the brain. You have these two, and then you get, and we're going towards the 12 sons of Jacob. We're getting there. We're getting there. Bear with me. We got the arachnoid. We have dura mater. We have pia mater. We also have the maidservants. Pia intima is connected towards Leah, who is Zilpah. Zilpah is the Pia intima. Pia intima is connected to the Pia mater. Bilhah would be the epipule, which is connected to the rough mother. Rachel. No, it's still connected to the mother. It's another layer, but it's close to dura mater. Let me erase this. Jacob is told to go to Bethel. Goes to Bethel. This is why I allow it. It literally took me like forever. So Bethel, Beth means house of God. No, Bethel means house of God. Beth means house. El means you get these two. Like I said in the previous Son of God, house of God. El of God. He goes to Bethel alone. Bethel, house of God. When you are meditating, you're sitting in a meditative stance, or anywhere you are alone, you connect more with your inner awareness, who you are internally. You realize who you are. Know thyself. The best knowledge is the knowledge of self. When you know thyself, you then become known. So he goes to the. So God told Jacob to go to Bethel. Bethel, breaking it down. Beth equals house. El equals God. House of God. And like I said, when you were alone, you by yourself. This is why a lot of people don't like being by themselves, because you have to face who you are, the thoughts, the energy that is around you, within yourself. You connect to it. You become aware of it. And sitting in the house of the Lord, our house of God, you gain this enlightenment, knowledge of self. And when you become knowledge of self, you become aware of everything else. This is where we reach enlightenment, unity consciousness, our higher heaven, our higher God. So he goes to Bethel, house of God. Now, and like we said, for his brother, Esau, Jacob, he had to leave the physical. He had to leave the physical to connect with God. It's the same thing. He had to leave his physical, meaning Esau, the uncalled man of the world, to connect with God. The spirit flew and rose up to the higher state of consciousness, which is the almighty, all powerful, all knowing. Jacob is the spirit, right? We've already established that Jacob is the spirit. The spirit leads you to become born again by the renewing of your mind, reaching Christ consciousness, born again. Now, in Genesis 35:8, Rebecca's nurse, Deborah, dies. Why is this important? We are going towards the 12 tribes of Israel. We're almost there. But in order to know the basis and the foundation of the 12 tribes, this is vital information to know, because it's what makes up the 12 tribes. Yeah, Deborah is Rebecca's nurse, like I said. Deborah B. Deborah is Rebecca's nurse. Rebecca is Isaac's wife. Isaac is the father of the twins, Esau and Jacob. Deborah is a B. Deborah means B. The etymology of Deborah is B. So yeah, in Genesis 35, 8, 35:8, Rebecca's nurse, Deborah means bee, a honeybee. Honeybee is the etymology of Deborah. And she was buried below Bethel, the house of God, under the terebinth tree, after Jacob rose his consciousness and renewed his mind by going to the house of God. When he went to the house of God, he gained knowledge of himself. He gained enlightenment. He reached Christ consciousness. So that's why that's very important. So after Jacob goes to Bethel, he rose his consciousness. Deborah, the bee, has no use anymore. She has no use anymore. There's no more need for the bee, because there's no more need for the spirit. The spirit is what gets you to God. The spirit is what moves you to higher consciousness, the higher state of awareness. This is why the bee dies. The spirit that Jacob became Israel. Jacob was the spirit, but then he became Israel, because there's no more need for the spirit, because you are now at your destination. Your destination. And the destination is to gain clarity, gain enlightenment, Christ consciousness. A lot of people were dormant. That sleeping serpent. It raped Kundalini. Shakti has now found peace with being, or rising up to meet her counterpart, her husband, Shiva. And this is the same thing when it comes to Jacob. It's the same thing when it comes to all the founding fathers. Once they reach enlightenment of Christ consciousness, once their spirit leads them to God, there's no more need for spirit. So they ascend. So you have that. Like I said, the spirit leads you to become born again. Bees make honey. milk and honey, in heaven. So yeah, when raising the energy within us, it hits a part of the brain called colostrum. It's called colostrum. Colostrum means hidden or shut away. Colostrum. Hidden, shut away. It's a hidden place in the brain. So when raising the energy, right, it hits the energy hits a part of the brain that's called colostrum, and that's the hidden or unconscious part of the brain. In order to reach enlightenment, you must go through the unconscious, so from unconscious to conscious. That's what that is about. Raising the energy, raising the kundalini. So, colostrum is a thin sheet-like structure in the brain that's involved in many functions, such as multisensory information processing, attention, um, what else? Sleep, consciousness. The colostrum is also a part of the consciousness. Sleep. Colostrum is hidden beneath the inner surface of the neocortex in the general region of the insula. Insula or insular cortex. But when we break this down even further, it says island of Rail. Insular cortex. Island of Rail. That's what it's also called. Sound familiar? Does it sound familiar? Israel, Island of Rail. Rail means counsel or advice. Counsel or advice. Like we stated before, Jacob became Israel, right? He became unity consciousness, connected to the Almighty One, powerful source. God, we ask for guidance. Counselor's guide. Rail, Israel, is God. Jacob became Israel. He became his God. Started leading towards the will of his God. Island of Rail. Insular cortex is called Island of Rail. Rail means counsel or advice. We are cooking up something. We really are. The Island of Rail is a part of the human brain involved in many functions, such as sensory processing, like we said, addiction, learning, speech, eating, decision making. Insula is located deep in the brain between the frontal and temporal lobes. It's part of a complex neural circuitry that includes the limbic structures, basal ganglia, autonomic systems. Jerusalem, Hebrew, city, Salem, uh, city of peace. All these things do not actually exist like they say they do. Because if you look at Jerusalem, it's full of tyranny, it's full of people not being at peace. Jerusalem means city of peace. Israel. You can't look at these things like they are fact. No, there's a whole bunch of people running around talking about some, oh, well, you know, we are the original Hebrews, Israelites. There's no such thing. Partaken in the world of what man has created of the world for himself. You're just living in another person's story. None of these things actually exist. And this is why a lot of people are going in a never ending loop, because they don't have no knowledge of self. And therefore, how can you become powerful? Or how can you be powerful? This is all a big illusion. We must create the world that we want. And in order to do that, we cannot be distracted by what's going on, because none of this stuff matters. In order to create the life that we want, we must turn focus into ourselves. It doesn't matter what other people say. It doesn't matter what other people tell you. Oh, well, did you see this war going on? Da, 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 da. It doesn't matter. Because if you keep on subjecting yourself, your mind to that, it's going to create that pattern. It's going to be a consistent pattern of all the things you're subjected to. That's why we must be intentional with everything that we think, we say. Sometimes we do slip up and be like, oh, okay, maybe I'm missing, Now, on to the 12 sons of Jacob. That creates the land of Israel. Now, first we're going to start off with the first son. Okay, the first son. The first son, who is the first son? Where is the first son? The first son is Reuben. You can find this in Genesis. Go to Genesis chapter 49. Gives out blessings to all his sons. On his deathbed, like I said, every time the father dies, the father is sacrificing himself, basically. Every time the father is about to die, he blesses his son of God. And then that son also, it's a cycle of life. One dies in order for the other one to live. So now we got Reuben. First son is Reuben. Where's Samantha? Reuben. Firstborn. First. Reuben means, what is the etymology of Reuben? Behold a son. Behold, or a son. Jacob means be behind or to follow. Leah is his mother. Leah is Reuben's mother. Okay? Make sure y'all can see that. She means soft, delicate, relief, say delight. Leah is Reuben's mother. That's important. Okay. Now there are 12 cranial nerves. Let me back up a little bit. There are 12 cranial nerves. There are 12 tribes of Israel. There are 12 sons of Jacob, right? Israelites. Okay, these are the Israelites. There is no group of Israelites in the physical. It is only existent within one's brain. Okay, it has nothing to do with looking outside and outside people. No, that's not what this is about. So the Israelites are Jacob's 12 sons. The Israelites go in a desert, surrounding themselves around a tabernacle, a tent in the desert. Make it make sense. It makes sense and it doesn't make sense at the same time. So they go to, they surrounding this tent. 4 directions. We have this tent. This to the tabernacle. Hans is the tabernacle. This is the tent. Or the tabernacle, which is pons. Pons is connected to the brain stem. Okay. The spine and the spinal cord. What makes parts of the brain. Okay. Where's the marker? At the tabernacle, you got the 4 sons. Like, 4 different directions. 3 sons in each direction. North, south, west, east. These 4 sons, I keep on saying 4 sons. These 12 sons are dispersed throughout surrounding ponds or the tabernacle. Reuben is in the south. Reuben, make it bigger. Reuben, his brother Simeon, and his other brother Gad. They're all in the south. East is Judah. Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. All right. West is Manasseh, Benjamin, and Ephraim. North is Dan, Naphtali, and Asher. And you may be asking yourself, oh, it's 12 sons of Jacob. Where's Joseph? Joseph has 2 sons. Through Joseph, his sons have land. Okay, in Israel. Joseph was blessed with 2 sons. He adopted his 2 sons. They're not his. They his, but they not really. They don't really matter. Anyway. Manasseh, Benjamin, Ephraim, west. North is Dan, Naphtali, Asher, Zebulun, Judah, and Issachar is on the east. Reuben, Simeon, and Gad is in the south. Remember that. Remember that. Okay? Because it's important. Now back to Reuben. Reuben is in the south. So what cranial nerve is in the south? Accessory nerve. The accessory nerve is important. Reuben is the accessory nerve. Make sure my mic is on. Reuben is the accessory nerve because he's the beginning of his father's strength, and he's unstable as water. So he's the beginning of his father's strength and unstable as water. Now, the accessory nerve is also known, aka, as the spinal nerve. The spinal accessory nerve. He is the beginning of his father's strength. Now, this deals with sensations from the neck and throat. It allows voluntary control of the muscle for flexing the neck and the trapezius muscle, which is the hugest muscle or major mover of the shoulders. The trapezius keeps the spine upright when standing. It maintains head balance by controlling the cervical spine. The trapezius is divided into three parts: the upper, which is the descending, the middle, which is transverse, and the lower, which is ascending. Right? So the symbols of Reuben is the primal man. Symbols, I like to do it in different colors. Symbols of Reuben. Primal man, which represents the physical. Unstable water. And mandrakes. I know I'm smacking a little bit, but don't mind it. Turn to, if you have a Bible, turn to Genesis 49, 3 to 4. Turn to Genesis 49, verse 3 to 4. It says, unstable as water, you shall not excel, because you went up to your father's bed, then you defiled it. You went up to my couch. Why is this important? Went up to father's bed, defiled it. Went up to father's couch. Defiled. Defiled. Think about sleeping. Sleeping serpent. Accessory nerve. Spinal. Sleeping serpent. The bed. The couch. Fire. Kundalini. The Kundalini raises with powerful force of energy going up the spine, and it can be harmful if mishandled. Now, mandrakes are located in south. Okay, this is why. Reuben would represent the accessory nerve because the accessory nerve is located in the south. And it also represents strength, dignity, power, shoulders. People walk with confidence, right? Mandrakes are in the south. Now, Kundalini is a delicate energy to use, and if overstimulated, it can cause damage to the nervous system and a buildup of heat in the body. He went up to his father's bed and defiled it. It's very vital energy. That's what it's talking about. It's talking about the Kundalini energy. And if mishandled, it can be overstimulated. Now, the sensations of Kundalini energy can feel like an electric current circulating along the spine, on arms, and hands, or sometimes stored in the genitals. Now, Jacob was mad because Reuben slept with one of his wives. He slept with the maidservant, Bilhah. Bilhah means unworried. And Genesis 30:15 says, "Would you take away my son's mandrakes also?" So this is Leah talking to Rachel. So the mandrakes represents fertility. It's also considered the lady's flower. It represents fertility and love, which is geared towards sexual energy to create. So Reuben defiled or wasted his creation, his sexual creation, energy with Bilhah. That's usually reserved for the firstborn. The root chakra and the sacral chakra. Root and sacral, they go hand in hand. So they're really connected. Root chakra deals with strength, vitality, physical pleasures such as food, safety, shelter, and stability. Unstable as water. The tribe of Reuben is known for their livestock, herds, and flocks. Root chakra deals with all things physical. So, primal man is his symbol. Primal man is physical. Man is a physical vessel. Mandrakes, physical. All things physical. So, the tribe of Reuben. So the tribe of Reuben is known for its livestock, herds, and flocks. The 12 tribes began when Jacob and his family went to Egypt following food scarcity in their land, and Reuben is the beginning of his father's strength. The spine, accessory nerve. Food also gives strength physically. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So Reuben, the nerve for Reuben would be the accessory nerve. That is the cranial nerve that is associated with the tribe of Reuben. Let me know in the comment section down below how is it going and you still following along. Reuben is most definitely associated with the spinal accessory nerve because he is his father's strength. Now the tribe of Levi. Levi is the third son. Levi, third son. Levi is the third son of Jacob and Leah. He would be the vagus nerve. Levi means to join or connect. Connect. That's what his name means. Levi was not given a particular land. His blessing from Jacob, his father, was to wander and spread the gospel, teach. So this is the tribe of priesthood. Okay, they just going around to the different tribes, letting them know to stick to the God's will. Okay. Levi wanders. Now there is one nerve that wanders throughout the entire the brain, and that is the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve wanders. Vagus nerve. Vagus comes from the word vagrant. Okay? So yeah, the tribe of Levi were given cities scattered throughout the land, along with surrounding pasture lands for livestock, reflecting their unique role of priests and servants of God. So this deals with priesthood. Like we said, Vegas comes from the word vagrant, which means to wander. That's why Levi is associated with the nerve vagus, the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve wanders, and Levi's wander throughout each tribe. And it is the largest cranial nerve and has 3 of the 4 types of wires. It controls every internal organ in the chest and abdomen, controls unconscious actions such as breathing or rest and digest, and comes from the brain stem. The symbols of Levi, the symbol of Levi is the breastplate. The breastplate symbolizes Levi because it represents all 12 tribes. He goes and wanders throughout each tribe, spreading the teachings of God and priests. That's the whole purpose of his tribe. Go out to each tribe and remember, we gotta keep on following God's path, And this thing you gotta do right now. That's them. So yeah, that's the tribe of Levi. Levi wanders. Vegas comes from the word vagrant. Vagrant means to wander. Levi's tribe wanders throughout each tribe, helping them keep on God's path. So now, then we have Zebulun. Zebulun is the 6th son. We're not going in order. Okay? That's okay. Zebulun is the 6th son of Jacob and Leah. I'll make sure y'all see this. Zebulun. Okay. His nerve would be oculomotor nerve. Oculomotor nerve. Oculomotor. And what does this nerve do? Exactly. What does this tribe do? This tribe is known for seafaring, shipping, and trade. It's given land at the southern end of the Galilee. Galil means circuit or circle, with the Sea of Galilee to the east, Mediterranean Sea to the west, and the tribe of Issachar to the south. So Jacob blesses in Genesis 49:13. So turn to Genesis 49, verse 13. Jacob blesses Zebulun, saying, Zebulun shall dwell by the haven of the sea. He shall become a haven for ships, and his border shall adjoin Sidon. Sidon means to hunt or fish. A Sidon is a part of the city in modern day Lebanon, located within the boundaries of the tribe of Asher. Saying a lot. Let me break it down. It's known for seafaring, shipping and trade, given land at the south end of Galilee. Galilee means circle, circuit. South end of the Galilee, with the Sea of Galilee to the east and the Mediterranean to the west. Tribe of Issachar to the south. Tribe of Issachar to the south. Sidon is a port city. My fault. It's a port city in modern day Lebanon. In the tribe of Asher. So the tribe of Asher is the higher cranial part of the higher cranial nerve. Now, Genesis 30:20, it says, God has endowed me with a good endowment. Now my husband will dwell with me because I have borne him 6 sons. Zebulun is a 6. 6 represents balance, harmony, love, and nurturing others. And nurturing others. Symbol of Zebulun would be a boat or ship. Now the boat represents the journey of faith and life transformation. And the oculomotor permits voluntary control of the eye muscles, which is muscles that rotates eyes up, down, laterally, medially. Skeletal muscles under voluntary control. It permits automatic control of the iris muscle. In the center of the eye is the pupil, or black hole. Say the eyes are the windows to the soul. The eyes tell all. If damaged, it affects voluntary muscles of eyes and the automatic opening and closing of the pupils. And it also reminds me of sometimes doing movies that involve ships or boats. It has an eye looking through the ship. You ever notice that? Like, there'll be movies where it will have like an eye, a person's eye, and it zooms in through the ship. I don't know what I'm talking about. Probably haven't seen all those movies, but there are movies that will have ships, boats, and it will have like a one person who's looking. So this nerve travels from the brain stem to the eye, passing through the cavernous sinus and supraorbital fissure. It originates in the membrane, the midbrain, not membrane, middle brain, near the midline, just below the mammillary bodies. So the oculomotor passes ventral to the optic tract, which is the Usher tribe. The optic nerve is the Usher tribe. As it leaves the brain, as it leaves the brain stem. Optic nerve Usher sends signals to the brain about brightness. The brain signals oculomotor to adjust the pupil size. The pupillary light reflex is a combination of the optic nerve sensory component and the oculomotor nerve's motor component. The tribe of Zebulun's purpose is to be part of God's plan to redeem mankind. It has a relationship with their neighbor Issachar, and Zebulun financially supports Issachar's study and teaching of the Torah in exchange for a share of the spiritual reward. I want to put on a map. This is the tabernacle. Okay. Judah, Reuben down here, Simeon, Simon, Gad. Then you have Dan, Naphtali, Asher, of Manasseh, Benjamin, and Ephraim. Right here. We got Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. Over here. This is north, south, east, west. Parts of the brain functions. This is not literal. I keep on saying that. Tabernacle, and these are the Israelites protecting and making sure that they are following along God's path. So that's Zebulun. This is the sixth son. Zebulun. Did we get the etymology of Zebulun? Means exalted house or dwelling, lord, or prince. Let me write it down. Zebulun means exalted house, dwelling land, one who dwells, honor, and sacrifice. His symbols are boat, ship, journey, life transformation is the symbol of the boat. The boat represents journey, life transformation. Oculomotor nerve, like we said, it permits voluntary control of the eye muscles. The muscles that rotates eyes not ups, up, down, all around. The skeletal muscles under voluntary control. It also permits automatic control of the iris muscle in the center of the eye. Is the pupil, the black hole. And like we said, the optic nerve is Asher. Optic nerve. We're going to get to Asher, but no. Because the oculomotor and the optic nerve, they're related. Not related, but like they're connected. Because where it says the optic nerve sends signals to the brain about brightness. Then the brain signals oculomotor to adjust the pupil size. So the pupillary light reflex is a combination of the optic nerve sensory component and the oculomotor nerve's motor component. Okay? Then we're going to go on to Issachar. Hold on. So each son is associated with the land and the brain. Okay? Yeah. Issachar. I like this name. Zachary Sachs. Issachar is the fifth son of Leah and Jacob. Fifth.